The killer KPIs with creditors, try saying that quickly, and this was the first take, is making sure you have the right KPIs. Because remember, with debtors, with stock and WIP days, it's very simple. You want to reduce them as much as possible, whereas with what we've discussed with creditors, it's a balancing act between paying them as quickly as possible, but getting more value in terms of what we're getting from our suppliers. But at the same time, you don't want to stretch them out so far that we end up being a poor client for our suppliers. So there's a few different killer KPIs to use, but they're a little bit more subjective in nature. But make sure you're on top of these and looking at the long term with your creditors as well, because a lot of these benefits won't be seen immediately. The first one is looking at how many creditors are over 30 days due. So looking at creditors reconciliation, which is your report out of your system, your finance system, which lists all the suppliers that you owe money to, the names of them, how much you owe, and then it breaks it down into what they call current, 30 plus days, 60 plus days, 90 plus days. Anything that's in the 30 and beyond, you want to understand why that is the case. Now, if it's because of they're the terms that they provide us, they might give us 45-day terms. That is completely fine. But the goal is anyone in that suppliers column, you want them in the first column, that current column. That's a good reflection of cash flow, and it's a really good reflection in terms of how we're performing in the eyes of our suppliers. An important point to remember though is make sure it's relative to our terms. So as I mentioned a moment ago, if someone's offering us 45-day terms and we're paying to 45 days, that's ideal. There's nothing more that needs to be done there, especially if we've exhausted the strategy around can we pay sooner and get more value as a result of that. The other element is more long-term, and that's looking at your creditors in terms of creditor days, your columns of your creditor days in your reconciliation, and your gross profit over an extended period of time. If you're successful with these strategies, you should be improving your gross profit 1, 2, maybe even 3% or more over an extended period of time. But the reality is that won't happen quickly. It's going to be the old cliche of slow, methodical improvement to get you a very good outcome over a long period of time and taking you to that financial powerhouse we've spoken about.